Hasegawa. I'm a learning specialist at Alice Ott Middle School.
My name is Lana, and I'm an 8th grader.
My name is Dean Salazar. I'm in 7th grade. Cameron.
Thank you all for taking the time to sit with me today to have a conversation. I'm excited to get into this, so I'm just going to throw out a few questions and we're going to get started. We're good with that?
Yeah.
All right. How connected do you feel to staff and teachers here at your school?
I feel pretty connected to some, but some I don't think are connected to some students as well as they are connected to other students, I think.
So for your experience, you feel pretty comfortable and connected with some of the staff here in this building. And then you said that there's some other teachers you feel like maybe who aren't as connected with students. Mm-hmm. Did I capture that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate how teachers involve their personal life into their teaching because it shows students that they have a life and their own personalities, and it helps students connect with the teacher as well as their learning.
Thank you for sharing.
I feel like the only one I'm kind of really close, like all the staff. Well, I'm close with the principal and Mr. H. I feel like he's the only one I can talk to about certain things.
Thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like you all have at least one teacher you feel connected to here in the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does equity mean to you?
Well, equity acknowledges that everybody needs something different. And as an educator, I work my best to figure out what my students need. I work on giving my students tools that they need to be successful, regardless of how many tools they need. Some will need a few, some will need a lot, and that's fine, as long as they can get what they need from me. That's the important thing.
What does a race-affirming school environment look like to you?
A race-affirming environment acknowledges that different cultures have different expectations and different needs from educators. I think that it's important for educators to acknowledge different needs of the cultures based on what those cultures tell us. We cannot assume what the cultures need. We need to talk to people of those cultures and ask them and verify what they need. Their voice is the most important part of meeting their needs.
Could you share an experience or two or a time when you have been able to do that with your students or families?
Another educator had continually talked to one of my students about being Latinx. I wasn't sure how he felt about that term, so I asked him, and he said, "No, I'm Latino." So we knew going forward, he did not prefer the term Latinx. He wanted to be called Latino. I think that it was hard for him to say that, but he felt comfortable enough to say that so that we were able to make that happen for him. And I think it's important for educators to ask students and not to assume, that they want us to use certain terms.
Overall, how much do you feel like you belong at school? Like when you come into the building, you feel like this place, I feel safe, I belong here.
I feel like I belong here. It's really nothing wrong with the school. I just sometimes feel paranoid about something happening.
Happening here in school?
Yeah, a lockdown or something, so I'm always paranoid.
Yeah, so paranoid about a lockdown happening at school. You think about that?
Yeah, but I feel safe.
You feel
all
safe?
The time.
Thank you for sharing.
I think the staff does a good job at appreciating the community at our school and making their students feel safe, but I think students could bring some anxiety onto other students, and I think that students should think more about other people as well.
I feel pretty safe in school. I don't really see what's to really be afraid of at school, except for something else. happening at the school, like a lockdown or whatever, like he said. But I don't really think, and the staff does a really good job of keeping kids safe and stuff like that.
I feel like when I see them check the doors, that would make me feel safe a little bit more.
So when you see your security checking the door, your hall monitor, I believe, checking the door, Mr. Z, when you see him checking the door, that makes you feel safer.
Yeah, I
in
know
being in the
nothing.
building.
I know nothing won't happen, but it's a possible chance. So I feel like him checking the doors, making sure they're fully closed and locked. I feel like that's like a good reputation of make the kids feel safe.
Absolutely. And that's all of our jobs, right? Safety is big for us here in David Douglas. And when you all mention lockdown, that is a part of safety. So when we're doing a lock-in or lockdown for whatever reason, it could be a drill, it could be that it's real, that is a part of us ensuring that we are keeping all of you safe.
How often do you think about what colleagues and students of different races, ethnicities, and cultures experience?
Unfortunately, the staff here is not very diverse. We have one Latino teacher and myself, who are the only BIPOC educators at the school. I do often wonder what the white experience is like for the teachers who maybe are not used to diverse friends, diverse neighbors, and maybe have grown up in mostly white environments. I wonder how they navigate this world that they control but are still part of, and what they're doing to ensure that they can meet the needs of our students.
So you all as students, do you feel like you can have real conversations with your teachers about race?
Some of them.
Some of them, you feel like you can have real conversations?
Yeah, because I don't feel like I could have a very straight conversation without them looking at a way of them thinking of like joking around or something. I wouldn't say joking around, but wouldn't take it as serious as it should be, in my opinion. But some teachers, I think, yeah.
I agree that some teachers, students would be more comfortable talking to than others, because there's some teachers who depend on building strong connections with their students and really focus on like caring and loving their students. So I think some students are more comfortable talking to some teachers rather than other ones.
Thank you.
I feel like it's a big thing to taught the teachers. If it's like something about racial, their students, like being like saying, I had this situation, no names by the way, if you're worried about that. I had this one situation, a white girl like said something that she like can't say, like the N-word. And like that's something I had to talk with to her teacher and to my teacher at the time, and it involved Mr. H. And like it was already going around, but I wanted to see if teachers was actually listening about it or not, making sure it wasn't a joke. Like, so I asked them, "Are you aware of that person saying the N-word when they're not supposed to?" Then they said, "Yeah." But like a teacher, we're trying to stick up, and like I was explaining, I heard her say it many times, but I feel like that teacher was just trying to stick up for that student because she feel like that student is getting picked on just because the way she is. So like I feel like talks with teachers is one priority and one relationship you should like have with those teachers, so you can go and run and like talk to them, because I feel like either way I feel like you should have that close relationship with your teacher so you can talk to them.
You feel like having a trusting, open relationship with your teacher should be a priority, right? So when you're going to share something with your teachers about race, you want to ensure that they take it seriously, right?
Yes.
How comfortable are you discussing race-related topics with your colleagues?
I have become more comfortable in the last few years, and it's very difficult. I know that we are all at different places in our strive for equity, and it's hard for me to gauge where people are at. I don't want to offend anybody or say something that might seem aggressive towards anybody, but I also feel that my voice is important and I need to speak my truth because I do want to speak up for students that are marginalized and are not part of the white majority.
How comfortable do you feel talking to students about race?
I actually feel more comfortable talking to students because they know me. I always explain my background so they understand who I am, and it seems to open up more shared experiences.
How often do you think about what students of different races, ethnicities, or cultures experience? So what it is to be someone who maybe isn't the same race as you. Do you think about their experiences here at school, outside of school, whatnot?
I feel like sometimes they're afraid to go tell because I feel like they feel they're gonna get bullied more just for like snitching. But I feel like what they deal with is like different from what we deal with. I feel like white people, I feel like mostly they get along with different skins, but I feel like it can be hard because they don't know how to speak English, so that's probably the main reason they get like bullied. I get teased for not knowing how to speak English as like humans or like Mexicans or white people do, or we do. So I feel like they get judged more.
Thank you.
I think at our school there's a big diversity of students with different backgrounds, cultures, and races. And it leads me to just wonder, how is their life at home? How is it at school? How are they being treated by other students? And how are they being treated by the teachers at school?
Racism, what my grandparents told me and what I've heard from other teachers who are Black, it doesn't come just from the kid, it comes from the parents also, because they have to learn it at home or they learn it from someone else who's doing it. So like if, let's say a kid called someone an N-word and used it not fluency, but throughout the day a lot, he heard it probably from someone who does use it a lot, and which when it comes to bullying, as they aim for people who are colored, which if they do, it does come from the parents or from someone that they're around and they do the same thing. So it's not always just the kid's fault.
So you're saying that racism can be taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so with seeing other students who don't look like you, right, from other cultures and whatnot, do you often think about what they experience here at school?
Yes, because some people, they don't speak English as good as some others. And when it's time to read for everyone and they don't know how to read, I feel like when people giggle and stuff like that, it's not funny because you don't know how hard it is for people who can't read or who can't speak English to read out to everyone.
How well does your school help students speak out against racism?
I think the school does do a good job on putting that as a priority to the students, but I think it's still a problem, and some students still struggle trying to respect other races and other people's skin color. But I think the staff makes it a priority of theirs to tell students not to do that.
They do try to stop whenever kids tease about racism or when they make fun of other cultures or whatever, they do stop it. But I feel like it's still a big problem in all schools, not just us. It won't stop unless we all like help each other. And I feel like all of us don't agree on the same level as each other. So that's the big problem.
How well would you say your staff does at helping students speak out against racism?
I think that our staff encourages students to speak out against racism. So many students in the last year especially have asked me more about why there are not teachers who are BIPOC teachers. And it's hard for me to answer. There are so many reasons and it's so systemic, and it really depends on the environment of the school. I think that we are doing our best to create better environments for teachers, but it's going to take a lot of work. But it is such an important thing for our BIPOC students to see educators who look like them and have that shared experience. It's invaluable as far as creating authentic relationships and creating a safer environment and just higher quality of education for all students.
How well does your school help students speak out against racism?
I think the school does do a good job on putting that as a priority to the students, but I think it's still a problem, and some students still struggle trying to respect other races and other people's skin color. But I think the staff makes it a priority of theirs to tell students not to do that.
They do try to stop whenever kids tease about racism or when they make fun of other cultures or whatever, they do stop it. But I feel like it's still a big problem in all schools, not just us. It won't stop unless we all like help each other. And I feel like all of us don't agree on the same level as each other. So that's the big problem.
Do you feel like you can go to a teacher, have a conversation, or go to your administrators and have a conversation about what took place?
If I hear first and it's one person say that, I feel like I'm not just gonna run and tell. I'm not like a run and tell person, but like if it's something serious, I'll let the teachers know. Like I don't get into detail because I don't know it. I'm just making sure they know what's. Like I want to make sure they be aware of what's like going on, so it's not a big surprise when they actually find out for themselves. So I feel like it's pretty like cool for like to go and tell staff members about like that. And I feel like Mr. H been that big person to like run and go to like. So about like the staffs, I feel like Mr. H my favorite one to go to.
My name is Mariah Hasegawa, and I believe in equity.
We
We believe in equity.